All right, traders. Hey, welcome on back here this Thursday, February 5th. Great to have all of us back here inside our live trading room. All of us back on social media. I'll get to you in just a bit. Great to see Kathleen, Roger, Deb, had Jazz just before John, Tom, got Day, Joyce, Andrea. Andrea, what's Italian for good afternoon? I don't think it's buongiorno, is it? That's good morning, right? And buonasera is good evening. So what's good afternoon? I always forget in Italian. Great to see Leda Farzad. Buon pomeriggio. I got to get my pronunciation right. My tongue untied there. But either way, great to have all of us back on social media, Facebook Live, LinkedIn, Twitter, etc., popping up lower left at Cyber Trading You. Just make sure to hit the follow and subscribe button down there. Now, with that said, though, we have a pretty interesting afternoon. I guess interesting. That could be taken in a couple of different ways, right? As day traders here, at the end of the day, we appreciate volatility and we appreciate trend because in a falling market, there are so many different ways that you can make money. Short stock, you could buy puts, but otherwise you can long the inverse ETFs now, right? So even like, well, not HIMS, we'll get to MicroStrategy more so than anything here. MSTR, right? This thing's been getting beat up. They got earnings coming up after the bell today. I got my popcorn ready for that. Be watching that for sure, just more of an observer. But you got MSTR down. Listen, you got MSTZ up. This is up nearly 30% today. So that's just where in the past, a lot of traders I would hear from, if they had a cash account, and say, all right, I can't short stocks, so I can't really trade in a down market. I can't make money. Well, you don't really have to say that now. You absolutely can make money, at least by following some of these inverse tickers. As the common stock goes down, this will go up. So that's been across the board from this whole week. Stocks like QBTS at the low of the day right now. You got QBTZ going on up. What else we got? RGTI, which is basically brother sister stock there. Quantum trades. RGTZ going up. I could probably do SMCI, SMCZ a little bit there. But we'll go through across the whole percent gainers list and losers list right now coming up and just build up our watch list for the afternoon. So I'm sure that we'll find a few more that are just moving with the market altogether. Probably not going to find too many, big name stocks on the gainer side, let alone even small name stocks. It really hasn't been that great of a day for the small caps even. The LIMN did just start to make a nice pop before, so it's nice to at least have this on our list to begin. Even with it pulling back, I don't mind putting it on our watch list for right now because this at least still has a great spread, great order book. If it just completely dumps from here, then we'll come back to it at the end and maybe we'll scrap it from our list then, but makes the cut for right now. This trade, so we'll kind of get to the rest right now because, again, from the morning session, may have had one or two little things that popped. CISS, little pop at least going into 10 o'clock, 10:30, but that was it. Been a waste of time since. Even right now, it's trying to come back up a little bit here, but looks weak, looks kind of slow. I'd rather focus on a stock closer to the high of the day. ESLA, it's been crawling since 12 o'clock in the afternoon. It's gone nowhere the last 2.5 hours. So could it pop? Yeah, maybe it could, right? But there's a lot of maybes in this whole market today. A lot of ifs and maybes across the gainer side here. So let's keep going through. Let's see if there's anything looking better. Obviously, with the whole market down, silver only continuing to dump. So the SLV on the loser side today down over 13%. At least you got the inverse ETF. So ZSL, if the markets keep falling off, this will definitely be one we'll have more of a focus on. And I may as well kind of throw the SLV trade in lieu of that on our watch list too. GDTC, Cytomed Therapeutics. Nice move, though, at least from the early morning. I guess if you jumped in here and you held all the way through, you're killing it. We didn't really call this out, at least until now. So it doesn't look half bad here, at least, going into the close. Is there a case to try and see this pop higher? I believe so. And at least for right now, closer to the high of the day than it is from where it had opened. So another one I'll kind of put on our list for the time being. GDTC. All right, so here are the inverses. MSTZ, QBTZ, SBIT is the inverse to Bitcoin, just to let you know. You got a few of those at least there. RKLZ, that's the Rocket Lab inverse. So RKLB common stock A, it's pretty expensive, but B, it's down. If you can't short this, at least you could trade this going up. So I got to make room for a lot of these trades for right now, the ones that are, weakest slash strongest. So, RKLZ, we'll do the MSTZ, the QBTZ, all of those pretty much we're going to look to kind of just group together on our watch list. Those are the weakest trades, at least the common stock is going into the afternoon. All right. What else we got here at least? PLTZ. This might be too expensive, though. Not really too expensive, but we just got other trades, the other inverses that are cheaper. So Palantir has been getting crushed. If you've been shorting Palantir, buying puts on Palantir, buying this from the morning, you're doing really well. Just a bit of a spread for $41 a share. I mean, there's just others. Now, if the whole market does fall off more, furthermore here, then we're likely to see this pop up here. You got the UVIX. And keep going through. Ooh, Lab D, biotech bearish. So we've been familiar with this trade before. It's just more of like a, move when the whole markets are falling off. It's not really a great swing, as you could see, but at least a day trade type of move here or there. Especially if we happen to break a higher high, then the market's in bad shape. But this just represents the biotech sector. Lab D, just another one I'll kind of add there for right now. All right, now I think that might just about wrap up the whole gainers list. Really? That's it? I mean, Neo technically is positive today, but man, that thing's slow. All right, we'll hop over to the loser side here. Oh God, how bad are altcoins getting beat up right now? XRP, the crypto. My God, this thing's down 40% almost right now. This is a double leveraged ETF, so I guess that means do your math. The crypto XRP, otherwise known as Ripple, is down about 20% almost today. Crazy. Bitcoin's been getting sliced up, and we've been expecting that for a long time, right? But it's tough to pick the perfect price level to determine the balance from. So I think that Bitcoin's going to go lower from the price I was saying in our chat. And hey, this is where we got to wait to see support build. So I think a lot of the crypto plays are going to remain good shorts for the time being. You're probably going to catch a day trade bounce on them at some point. At some point you're going to see some covering. But Peloton all-time lows, right? I think Peloton all-time lows, and this stock technically. Okay, I lied. It's not all-time lows, but it's basically getting there. And with that, it is easy to borrow. So that's more of the reason that we're going to follow this for the time being. Broke local lower low here. Has stronger support likely, pretty much where it's at now, back from the end of 2023, right around 430-ish, 425-ish. The more it knocks on that door, it's just going to keep crashing. So I think that this is a pretty good short that you could work with right now. A little bit slower, more of a category 1 type of short, but all right, a lot of bad crypto plays here, meaning a lot of good shorts on the crypto plays. Mara down big, MSTR down big. We got that already. Mara $7 a share. That is hilarious. And the whole market being down is unfortunate. This stock here, I actually kind of like seeing down a lot. I'm kind of rooting against it a bit. So you see Mara keep dropping there. I'm a fan of that. But otherwise, though, I mean, what else is there really? We got Robinhood. That's at the low of the day. That's a very weak, chart right now, aka a very strong short. BMNR has been a great short for the longest time here. I mean, you're pretty much up 35%, 33, 35% if you shorted this from that level that we had talked about last week at $30. From 30 down to 18, hell of a move. But yeah, right now the Robinhood trade I actually do like. Just going to put that back on our list as a short. I'll add that. Anything else here, folks? Yeah, Leda, Michael, Brad, Kathleen, Uday, Ronnie, any of us here right now in chat. Just let me know if you any stocks that you like or anything that you have an interest in, you want me to take a look at here. How about ARM? I mean, hey, this is going totally against the grain. This is at the high of the day right now. It's up big, a little bit more expensive. But hey, if we got MicroStrategy on our list, then right. The difference between MSTR and the other one is this is a bit more liquid, has a better order book. ARM is going to be a bit thinner. So a pop earlier on GDRX, I guess that was just a pop and drop move. So kind of scrap that now. RNAS, OPTX, AIM. When I'm getting stocks looking like this, I think that means that we've done our job. So let me just take a look at the chat board, see if there's anything that you have for me here before we wrap up. But so we've done pretty well so far. RMG, the ETF. Okay. Let's see. RMG. Yeah, good call, Leah. So you know what? I'll just slip the RMG on there. It's cheaper and it has at least that tight spread that you want to see. So you still want to trade the stock levels, or you still want to focus on the stock levels to focus on the ETF. To trade the ETF, you do want to focus on the equity levels, but this would be the one that you want to jump in on. So appreciate that, Leda. Thank you as always. All right, folks. Hey, I'll tell you what, pretty much good to go, though, here heading into the afternoon. And you know that we have a pretty interesting market ahead when we have A, a pretty big list to start, but B, I wrap this baby up in about 12 minutes. So, you know that what we have to work with here heading into the afternoon. Really, we don't really have to dig too deep, go too far to build up our watch list, right? Now, with that said, last thing that I'll just mention before we wrap up. We had support here, and this is exactly where I was looking to see a bounce from. And right at 10:30, much like we teach in class with day trading, you do expect lack of momentum from the original trend that you had in the morning. You expect potential reversal. Well, we bounced to begin, but once we pull back into this, that's how you know it's pretty much a wrap. I mean, you could have wishful thinking, but I ended up getting stopped out. It pulled back to my entry price. I ended up getting taken out on this trade. So I had a leveraged position on Bitcoin from here. I had some IBIT. I took a loss on both, basically. And now at this point, I think that we're going to go much lower. So wouldn't shock me, at least overnight into the weekend. Perhaps if we don't get back up over this fast, 60,000, 58,000. Hey, life comes at you fast, right? I wasn't necessarily expecting to see these numbers so fast into the calendar year. I was telling our students directly in our trading room back in November, December, I was saying that I was expecting Bitcoin to get to around 65,000, 60,000, 65,000 at least some point in 2026. But that's a very vague comment, right? I mean, that doesn't give you really anything to work with in terms of a time-based projection. So trust me, this move is definitely blowing my expectations out the water in terms of how fast we got here. So I think it's going to take time to see support build, but I do think that we're probably going to go even further down at this point, probably towards like that 60,000, 57,000 there perhaps. And we'll see what happens at that stage. All right. IBRX still riding this thing all the way through, at least for the time being. Lower highs today, but as long as we hold over 550, 540, I still feel really strong about that. Zoom's basically break even on my swing trade here. I mean, I was up a little bit this morning, but this thing I'm just going to ride out at least until the next day. If it breaks below this support area convincingly, then I'll just cut ties with it. All right, folks. But all in all, hey, we got a decent watch list to work with here going into the close. So let me post this in just a bit. There we go. I'll pretty that up, at least for all of us, just coming up. But otherwise, if you're on social media, Facebook Live, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, etc., the internet streets, as I like to say, make sure to be a friend, tell a friend, and look to hit the follow and subscribe button down below. Just at Cyber Trading U is our name on YouTube, as well as on X. But otherwise, though, we'll be back live inside our trading room coming up in just a bit. Again, for all of our students here, just stay tuned. We'll be back.